mothers are always looking for ways to get their children blessed. So they brought their small children to Jesus to be blessed by him. His disciples tried to hold them back, but Jesus told the disciples to let the children come to him. On today's segment on Faith Matters, let's talk about how we can bring our children to Jesus so he can bless them. And we have none other than Molly Banerjei here to talk about that. Molly, I'm glad to be here on your show, and I ask you the question to talk about what I just shared.
Well, the joy is all mine.
Yes.
Right? Mothers are always looking for ways to get their children blessed. That's
right.
their number one desire.
Mothers, I want you to really tune in because this segment is for you. It's for your son, your daughter, and we're going to share from our hearts, and Molly will share how we can do even more and bless our children.
Absolutely. So in this segment, and this is found in Matthew chapter 19, and the two verses that we're going to allocate to this discussion, verses 13 and 14.
Yes.
And then people brought their children to Jesus for him to place his hands on them and pray for them. Right? This is so important.
Very important, yes.
By allowing Jesus to lay his hands on the children and blessing them. It is so important. And we don't need to reiterate it. We don't need to emphasize it. Mothers, parents know this instinctively, right? They're always looking for ways to have their children blessed, right? And so 2,000 years ago, let's go back to a time when mothers just like you were doing the same thing. They were bringing their children to Jesus, and they wanted him to make time for them, to lay his hands on them, and to bless them.
That's right.
Right? But the disciples rebuked them, right? The disciples of Jesus, he had 12 of them who were always with him. They were his friends, they were his companions, and they didn't quite understand Jesus, right? They thought, maybe because Jesus was very busy at that time, he was preaching, he was meeting people, that this would be an interruption and that, this is not important. And so they tried to tell the mothers to take the children away.
Yes.
Right?
And then?
But then what did Jesus say? Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. Right?
Wow.
Very important saying of Jesus. What Jesus was saying is, these children are very important to me. I want to bless them, and no one should ever get in the way. Right? He was making a very emphatic statement like that. And in addition to he also said that these blessings are not only for small children, they are for adults also. If there's some adults who also want to be blessed like these children, the blessings of God are available to them as well. But there is a caveat.
What's
right?
that?
The caveat is that they would have to become simple as children.
Yes.
Right? Even as adults, if they can come to a place where they can become simple. Like children.
Like children, yes.
Then these blessings can go to them as well. Wow. Right? What Jesus also said, that the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. In other words, his kingdom is not meant for people who think they're super smart.
Yes.
Right?
It's for the humble.
It's for the
humble. Meek, ones who can think as simple as children do.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you're saying, Molly, that we have to bring ourselves to the place of our children and that of child. And in a sense that you are a child when you are talking to your maker, but when you're that humble. In other words, I think it comes to also humility.
Absolutely.
Being humble, being meek. Doesn't mean that you're going to be a pushover. Just talking about the qualities that then allow you and your children to arise among and achieve great things.
Absolutely. So, another perspective to think about
Sure.
it is that when it comes to our Heavenly Father, we are His children, like you just mentioned,
Yes.
right? And so we can't come to Him full of ourselves and say, this is who I am, and these are my accomplishments, and this is how super special I am, like some people like to, right? Like to be like that. What God is telling us, as you mentioned, is to be humble, to be simple, right? And to recognize the fact that we are human beings, right? And so compared to our Heavenly Father, we really are not all that super special. And if we come to Him with this kind of attitude of humility, then we too not only can be blessed, but also become members of the kingdom of heaven.
That's beautiful. Molly, the the example you've given about the children being blessed, something came to my mind. Do you remember our trip to Israel? And we were, we don't celebrate Shabbat ourselves, but we were at the house of a family. It was arranged by the government, actually. It was a program that we visited the home of a Jewish family, and on Shabbat night. And something that they did, this is what they do every single Shabbat, which is a Friday evening, is the father of the house actually places his hand, and we saw that happen at the dinner, which we were part of, and blesses each and every child.
Yes, father and mother.
And mother, thank you.
Together.
So this, in a way, is that was kind of gave me an idea that the symbolism behind that, being in Israel, Christ, Jesus in our lives. So it is so important to receive our Father's blessing, whether we are children in spirit or for our children to be taken so the blessings can flow.
Absolutely. So if you're a parent, a mother or a father, or maybe your grandparents, what we would like to encourage you is to make the time to bless your children. Speak blessings over them, right? Lay your hands on them and bless them. And when you do, right, this is not just a symbolic gesture, right? Children who are being prayed for, children who are blessed on a regular basis, they tend to have great lives, right?
They do.
So prayers are very, very powerful.
Very
so we would
powerful.
like to encourage you as parents to make the time. We live in a world where everything is so hectic, right? And nobody has any time for anything. There used to be a time when people used to sit together over dinner table. This was a time when families, made the time to spend some time with each other. They used to pray together, right? And so one of the good things that COVID has done is given us time.
Yes.
Something that we had all lost. And so we would like to encourage you to take some of this time to spend time with your children. Talk to them, right? Don't assume that your children know everything. Don't assume that they don't want to spend time with you. They want to. They crave your attention. Spend time with them. Listen to them. Talk to them. Encourage them. Guide them. They don't know everything, right? How would they know everything, right? And so in addition to all of that, bless them. Speak blessings over them. Ask Jesus to bless them, because Jesus always has time to bless little children.
That's so beautiful, Molly. And something that you began to allude to is that when we're taking our children, we also help getting them to focus on something that is very beautiful and clean. Because obviously people are watching us on television here, or they may see it on a podcast, but there's some kind of a media on which they're watching us. Think of all the negative media. Think of all the dirt and things that you would not want your children to see. However, the world is hitting our children and your children with things that you and I would not want them, because when the younger you are, as you know very well, our minds are target until we mature. So tell us a little bit more about some of the, maybe not specify the perils necessarily, but the importance in today's society of children being brought to Jesus to get a blessing and protection.
Right. Because as Jay mentioned, all of us are being bombarded basically with all kinds of messages that don't necessarily coincide with the way we want to live our lives, right? Everybody has a worldview, everybody has a way that they want to live their life, and so, but the world is very busy trying to get our attention. And so children are not all, they don't have that maturity to be able to say, well, if I'm watching this, then this is not something that is good for me, right? And so if you're not paying attention to what is going on in the lives of your children, then someday you might find yourself dealing with some very, very serious issues, right? So talk to them, find out what is happening to them. What is it that they're exposed to? What kind of music are they listening to? Music is big.
What's on the internet?
What are they watching?
What are they watching?
What kind of movies are they watching?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
These are all very important things because, our children matter. Their lives matter. They are our greatest heritage, right? And so, and legacy.
And legacy, yeah.
Right? Someday, time will come when we have to leave this world. Everybody has to do that. And so, if we have done our job right by our children, then we will leave a good legacy behind for our children, right? And so, our legacy will continue. And what is better than to bring them in, bring them up in the fear of the Lord, so they would learn that there is a creator who has created all of us. Fearfully and wonderfully were we created in his image. So we are very special. And so not everybody knows that, not everybody understands. And so we should make the time to help our children see their value in the sight of God. Because remember, there's so much of depression, mental illness that is affecting our children, right? Because their identities are being attacked. They have come to a place like, I don't know who I am, right? And so when we bless our children, we speak blessings over them, we are also telling them who they are, right? There would be absolutely no reason for them to be then depressed, right? They can be happy and they can fulfill their destiny. And as I said before, Jesus always has time. He is never too busy. He wants to bless his children, and he will always make the time if we come to him and ask him to bless our children.
That is so beautiful. Thank you, Molly, for sharing your thoughts, your deepest thoughts and cares and concerns for all out there and for people. And on today's segment on Faith Matters, we have talked about how we can bring our children to Jesus so he can bless us. Stay blessed, stay well, stay together till our next segment. Molly and I from our household wish you and your household the very best as you are starting the new year or have started the new year, all your aspirations. Many blessings. We'll see you next time.
And know that we are praying for you. You're not alone. Thank you for being here, and we have lots more for you, so don't go anywhere.